promise nothing could ever break us. The future is now, I don't believe in later. I keep it pushing till I meet my maker. Real legends never die, they become greater. I put in work, look where I wound up. Found up at the top, built from the ground up. It's time to shine when we walking out. The world is mine, I'm the one they gon' be talking about. I can see it now, bright like the sun. I am the one, I just begun. Can't stop my run, till kingdom come. What's done is done, this is my world now. So raise up, we going way up. Time to face up, show what you're made of. I stayed up, never gave up, till I came up. This is my world now.
So it is to the printing press, to the recorder of man's deeds, the keeper of his conscience, the courier of his news, that we look for strength and assistance. Without debate, without criticism, no administration and no country can succeed, and no republic can survive.
All right, welcome to the panel. We got a panel full of veterans here today. It's going to be a great show. We got a few things that we're going to get into. I wanted to take a minute here to show you guys a few things that got. These are awesome. These are awesome. I mean, these are like lifetime bottle openers. A couple of them. Set this, very awesome. This, you know how good that's going to look on a freshly painted studio wall. Very awesome, very awesome. All right, I don't know if there's any buffering going on, but if so, if you're on, maybe try jumping out, coming right back in. John Hook had got a hold of Woodman and got this. This is it's a cue. Don't tread. Could be the new, you know, thing to tell us about this mission when we're done. Just a whole new little flag added for those of us that were heavily in tuned. We'll have to wait and see, but we got a lot of things we're going to go over here today. Maybe a little bit of conspiracy Wednesday, if you want to call it that, but some of us have been paying attention, digging, and I'm not saying not everyone has in their own kind of way, but well, it's going to be an interesting show. So without further ado, again, if you're new here, make sure you are subscribed. And some of them things I showed, I did want to say I was wanting to show you guys this guy's, but I'm going to put something together for a little show later today, and that we'll go over a lot more of these awesome things that got sent in. Without further ado, let's introduce the panel of Patriots. Gentlemen.
Oh yes, a pleasure.
All right,
How we doing?
How you guys doing today? I'm gonna get a few things set up here. I didn't take the time to do it. Kind of jumped in here, but I wanted to get everything set up. So we got the Patriot Hour 4 vet panel here. We're gonna go into a little bit of military operations in history, particularly one I got kind of. So we'll get the chats up here. That should
Working
be
on some
one
panels and the ticker tape for you guys. By the way, good to have all of the mods in, man. And seeing all you guys. Great stuff, man. Great stuff happening. Beautiful stuff. Let me actually move some of my good stuff over here so I can see how many are in the room here. Oh my gosh, almost what, 400? I'm
look
seeing
at this
watching.
room.
Beautiful, you guys. Beautiful.
Wow.
Yes.
Excited.
You really do great work, Greg.
Why, thank you. Thank you very much.
I just
I'll
like
be
to
here
start
all
out-
day. Tips are welcome.
Yes, we're gonna I want to introduce the guys here. This is a great group of patriots here that we've assembled. we're not the largest intelligence gathering group in the country by any means, but we have done some great work over the last 3 years. I'm proud of these guys. Are we coming to an end with everything? But real quick, I'm gonna start with Woodman. Woodman, give us like a minute of your best introduction. Why, brief history of, and then what why are you here talking to everybody? Not so much like literally here today, but just in general.
Well, hello everybody. My name is the Woodman. I'm here to represent the truth. I want to emphasize that, the truth. I'm glad to be on a panel with these guys, these intelligent individuals. All I can say is I represent the 82nd Airborne Division, and I am a patriot. I'm a constitutionalist. I was told I have constitutionitis. Quite true, and I believe in God 100%. Just glad to be here.
Thank you, brother. We're glad you're here.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Ben,
Stuff.
go ahead, brother.
Pretty much military background. Was in the Army for OIF, OEF. I was stationed overseas in Germany for a huge chunk of that time. So I did my military timing in there and had a good time. After that, got into computers and do the whole network security and IT engineering stuff. I met Mike. That's kind of where we were doing that. And my whole life, man, I've always been thinking outside the box. Never really took what the mainstream narrative always told me, including, those closest told me. So this was a natural progression. Mike and I have always been kind of doing garage talk, and Mike really got the channel going. So it was like, this is a natural progression. Two vets hanging out, and now I'm meeting amazing people.
Brother, we are glad you are here today. So, Fluid, Greg, Patriot, what is up? Tell us your story a little bit.
Well, I'm just here to help spread the truth about the United States and what's been happening behind the scenes that a lot of eyes haven't seen. My background is strictly, I was in United States Navy for 4 years as a jet engine mechanic, and then I spent another 6 or 7.5 years in the Army as a Apache helicopter mechanic. And I did a lot of database administration and worked with the CSS ammo out of Fort Hood, Texas, while deployed to Iraq, running networks. So I'm here to watch America's rescue.
Good.
So
I'm glad you're well.
And I love my country.
So, and we're all, amen, brother. We're all actually engaging and trying to help educate and possibly shape a little bit to keep our freedoms. We all have rallied around these. Our only agenda was ever to keep freedom, keep our liberties, and agree with people to not give up an inch to these people anymore.
Exactly.
There's lots of talk out right now of what's creeping in and what's happening, and we believe that
New revolution.
Yeah, I mean, in a way, it really is, and
I would say more
Digital
of a
warriors.
revealing. Well, it's like I would actually, and just real quick to make a pause. I know we say you said revolution, but I think we should be more of a revealing, because a revolution. I mean, like I hear back in the '60s, like Mike was saying, it's like, yeah, with the Beatles, all these different things, you keep on going around to the same thing over and over and over again. I think almost like Woodman and all of us are all God fearing. I think it's more like it's in Revelation, where it's a time of revealing what's been happening, like so it's an amazing
revelation.
time, and we're all super excited to be on the trip with you guys and riding, because it is crazy out there right now. I'm not just saying that, we're all feeling the craziness. We know it.
It's a reveille. No, that's crazy. That thought, though, we all know the song. It's gonna be a revolution. But it's like, what? You're gonna go full cycle, right where you're at. That's
the best is yet to come.
Yeah, let me. Well, my name's Michael, by the way. I'd like to start out saying, so I guess I should do the same. I So,
right, hit 'em
Michael,
up,
I was
brother.
in the Navy for several years. I got into the computer game as well, in partially about 4 years into my career in the Navy. So then I took on lots of courses and did lots of things as well. Never been to Epstein Island. I'd like to get that out there. Have never done any of those. Visited any places like that. Just get that on the record.
Prove it.
But everyone
Prove
else
it.
knows my story. All right, so we're gonna move forward here. I'm gonna pull up a couple of interesting images. I'm pretty sure. Dang. Well, I guess I could do it this way. I got a desktop capture up. Make sure all you guys are engaged so I can hear.
1, 2.
So we'll go.
Anybody seen Pencil Neck lately?
Where's he been?
No.
I don't
Last
know.
time I saw him was when he did his perp walk.
That's the last time I want to hear from him.
Where's Shifty? Where's
Now, you
Shifty?
see this, you guys? All you guys watching right now, you see
Hey.
how Mike's going to DuckDuckGo? That's where at least you need to go some kind of not so
Hey,
graveled
yes.
browser, by the way.
Duck, duck, go.
I set these up on everything this time just to be a. So let's delve into this real quick. They're not a paid advertisement, but let's go ahead and. So privacy, all right. Simplify. We don't store your personal info. We don't follow you around with ads. We don't track you ever. Whoops, I've already added them. But anyway, you'd follow that. So.
So yeah, no, I just use something else. Even though there's a glitch in Google, we
There we
all
go.
know it. Something's down.
We don't store your personal information ever. Our privacy policy is simple. We don't collect or share any. We don't follow you around with ads. See this ghost following?
Yeah,
We don't store your search history. We don't track you in or out of privacy browsing mode. See
Yeah.
that? You guys taking a bath.
It's not, I mean, you guys, like we said, man, it's just a little something extra. Just try to get off your daily habits because we're all not in the norm right now. We all know
Oops. That screwed it.
guys here in a few on this hasn't happened. This has happened before.
All right, so we're going to go to the beginning. And what post was that, Ben? Like maybe 28 or something?
44.
28.
No,
We wanna go-
28,
We wanted to go
okay.
28.
Oh.
So we'll do...
Do a little control scrolly. Yeah. Super nicey. All right.
There we
Yes.
go. Perfect.
There we go.
Beauty, by the way. Beauty, way smoothing.
All right, this is very important. So I'm going to read a little bit here, and I'm going to call out these fine gentlemen for thought. So I'm going to mute you guys for the moment. What must be completed to engage military intelligence takeover of the three-letter agencies? During the 1950s and 60s, federal troops and federalized National Guard forces, accompanied by military intelligence personnel, were deployed to help integrate the Southern schools, to help deal with civil disorders in Detroit in 1967 and other cities the following year after the assassination of Dr. Martin Luther King. Throughout this period, military intelligence units also continued to collect data on Americans at home who were suspected of involvement in subversive activities. In the late 1960s, the Pentagon compiled personnel information on more than 100,000 political active Americans in an effort to quell civil rights and anti-Vietnam War demonstrations and to discredit protesters. The Army alone used 1,500 plainclothes agents to watch demonstrations, to infiltrate organizations, and to spread disinformation. So we're going to start there with Woodman. Brother, maybe during those early, I don't know if you could recall those times of the protests and everything going on. I'm sure you were coherent and everything. What are your thoughts on that? And did you know of anything like that going on back then in the late 60s, early 70s?
Not back then. It was really crazy because if you think about it, they had the Ohio University.
Was that Kent State?
Richard Nixon? Huh? Yeah, Kent State. Yeah,
Kent State. Okay.
that was with Richard Nixon. So he went through all that bull crap. When it comes back to those times, it didn't come out. The media was different back then. It was a whole lot better than what it is now, but they still didn't let you know what was going on until it was to their advantage, or whether it be a politician's advantage or someone in the media, so a lot of it didn't come out like when it was supposed to,
Well, I almost take that to be, and no, that's great. So, Ben, what do you think? Like do you think so if the Army, like, what were they, why were they embedding themselves into these different groups back then during like so we had a lot of kids in the colleges, and we know them
They
as,
were
you call them
decentralizing. They were really against these anti-government movements, and they basically were doing investigations on individuals in that area, in that time frame that they weren't supposed to be doing investigations on, collecting data on domestic stuff. And people say, yeah, they're the FBI, they're the Federal Bureau of Investigation. They were investigating, but they were embedding themselves into these little groups, if you will, that were moving and being controlled by other individuals. And they were in plain clothing. They were looking at people. They're taking who's who, who's talking to who's what, and who's in the power structure, and collecting mass data.
Yes.
Well, I think they've been doing it all along.
Wow.
It just not
But even-
started in the 60s and all that stuff. It was before
Well,
that.
we know that in earlier times, how many actual corporations owned, like, would have been how many channels did they have in TV in 1965 or whatever?
Yeah.
I mean, in the 60s. Like,
Two,
what,
four,
seven
seven.
channels?
Yeah.
Mainly three.
I'm gonna get the fluid
Mainly
port.
three, yeah.
I want to add, according to one report, the Army had at least one observer at every demonstration of more than 20 people. So we talk about these numbers now, But anyway, we were at Richmond together, Woodman, Fluid, Greg. We were at, that was more than 20. So you would think like every something similar to that. I mean, what's your thoughts on that whole process as well, Greg? And just knowing that the Army, the report I have here, or that there's at least a report out there of that, anything bigger than 20. So, I mean, what do you think?
Well, I think we all saw a lot of that down there, didn't we? I mean, we looked on the rooftops and people were watching us when we were down in Richmond. So
More so
I don't know
blatantly.
if those guys, I don't know if those guys were good guys or bad guys or what was going on. I was just kind of keeping my eyes open, watching everybody else's backs. I'm not sure, Mike. Honestly, I think that they're doing it to infiltrate, to see what's going on, what people think, listen to conversations,
even back then
hide
in the
amongst
60s,
the crowds.
Yeah, no, I mean, so that's telling us here that they've infiltrated. We know they've done it to like the biker gangs, Hell's Angels and stuff have had
Oh, yeah.
infiltration. It's a great advantage in any kind of war position or anything. So this is a government doing it to the people. They wanted to know who wasn't
Yep.
on board with the government at the time of backing the Vietnam War, that whole progressive. That was going to be the forever war, if allowed to be. Possibly, I think plans changed, and it's like, we'll do this war on terror, which was meant to be the forever war. All right, we know.
They still didn't have approval from Congress either. It was still conflict, and it was big stuff that they were trying to get done through. So they're having issues with Congress about, is this an official war yet?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now
that's
our
kind of
point.
like what I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. Now our point here goes a little deeper. I'll finish this up. So the Army's activities were.
So the Army, not just a normal FBI. This is actually
Yes, this is
military, which
military.
is a huge difference. What's this? Yes.
But there's had to be something to make this be possible. And I know there was groups were bombing and stuff back then too. And I'm not for that kind of protesting, the Weather Underground or all those groups, right? So the Army's activities were summed up by the Senator Sam Ervin back then, or whatever, saying alleged for, I'll pull this up. So let me get this up on this screen. So the Army's activities were summed up by Senator Sam Ervin, allegedly for the purpose of predicting and preventing civil disturbances which might develop beyond the control of the state and local officials. Army agents were sent throughout the country to keep surveillance over the way the civilian population expressed their sentiments about government policies. In churches, on campuses, in classrooms, and public meetings, they took notes, tape recorded, and photographed people who dissented in thought, word, and deed. This includes clergymen, editors, public officials, and anyone who sympathized with the dissenters. All right, so now
Gets a
we
little
get to this.
thicker.
Yes, it gets a little thicker. It says, ha ha ha, Trump had the military intelligence infiltrate Antifa and all dissenting local governments. So for this one here, because always 5 steps ahead, please be true. And Q says, well done, picture painted well. So
5
this
steps
time,
ahead, huh?
time it was like us, the Patriots, which is Trump, did it the same thing that they did in the 50s or 60s, which would have been more of a New World Order thing to me. They're going to do this. They did it. They did it in the 60s and 70s and got away with it. So that was a crooked kind of government outreaching this way. This time it's the president doing it, using these same things inward. I'll put it this way. This is what blew my mind. Give me a minute on this one. I'm not going to be able
And
to
maybe
pull
while
anything up.
Mike's getting that, I can kind of maybe explain a little easier too. Or
Oh, my bad. No, I meant I was going to actually talk here. So we had Mike or Pompeo come over to, basically he's the head of, the State Department at this point. And I know a lot of people don't know his role and they're like, hey, he's a shill. He's done nothing but bad things. But at this point, he came as the head of the State Department and went to basically a meeting with all the governors of each state. And it must be like a meeting or a dinner thing. And he sat there and said, I had the pleasure to be over the CIA for the last few years. Well, then he goes on to tell this story of how, there was a letter sent out from the Communistic Party of China, but it was under the guise of this friendly name, and it went out to all governors and asking them to come, and they couldn't wait. And he goes, I just wonder how many of you knew that this was of a shill company, because I was over at the CIA and I knew this, but I just wonder how many of you knew this. And this is about 2-3 weeks ago, maybe a month ago. And it's just like blatantly there. And I'm, sitting there shocked as all get out. And he calls them out, how many of you took money? How many of you, each person would know other than they know. So he basically called them out and it's kind of like, well, enjoy your dinner. We got a list. And they seem to have already worked with these Chinese people to get the list. So it seems like they got backdoored. And it all makes sense. There's a lot of embedded crookedness. I'm just going to spill it out there. The human trafficking, the borders not being closed up, the drug flow, the drugs that really are harmful, killing and destroying neighborhoods and families and cities, the MS-13 gang activity flowing through. It just seems well orchestrated, well devised. Our money goes everywhere around the world, builds fences and walls, and they seem to report back 99% that they work. The same people here have pitched that they won't work here. Our same dollars won't work. Send our military and money over here, it works. Our own military and money won't work here. Impeach Trump for trying to hold up money to the Ukraine, but don't impeach him. They're trying to hold up our own money for our own manufactured crisis of making people be laid off. I know a lot of people that were willing to work these last several months and everything was fine. And then you're forced, almost laid off by the government. And then, they're wanting to hold up the money on that by playing the same typical games of like, well, we're going to sneak some stuff in here. And that's Pelosi for you. Not that the Republicans are any better. They've done it too. But so I don't get caught up in all that crap.
it's still
Right.
interesting that military agents were used in both circumstances in the 50s and 60s and now this time. The main difference was, I think, coming from the government had to deal with in the 50s and 60s, they were going after the groups who should be keeping the government in check, asking about not, let's get out of this thing, let's get back to being America and how it is, where the same apparatus has been used currently for the people who are saying, let's tear down America, let's open up the border, let's get crazy, let's start just tear up the Constitution, what it was really truly meant for, to preserve our Constitution. So this is at this extreme point. So you can see that when this is happening, like, wow, okay, that's really different from the 50s and 60s and from what we were told was happening back then.
Yeah, no, I
Yep.
agree. What do you think on that, Greg?
Well, I tend to lean towards the spiritual side of things a lot, and a specific verse in the Bible comes to mind that no weapon formed against us shall prosper. And if you think of how all those weapons were created to tear down our country, destroy our Constitution, and how with one foul swoop or one blessed swoop, everything has been dismantled and prepared for returning the power and freedom and faith to our land and to its people.
Very nice.
Amen. Amen, brother,
amen.
for sure.
So I would agree. Like that time there was to keep an eye on people that didn't agree with the government, and then maybe now, even though it goes on to say that they collected 100,000 names of dissenters or whatever. Now they didn't really act on all that. Maybe some people got harassed, and certain more diggings went on, and maybe we had a lot of people go down for simple things. You know what I'm saying? Like back then, that they could go down for. Like they probably used every legal aspect of the
More
if you're
petty
on the-
crimes versus major stuff.
Yeah, like when while we're digging into him, we noticed that he's involved in a underground Cuban cigar thing. Him and his buddies smoke them on Sundays when they play their poker. So they're illegal, and kind of like in the movie, Made in America with Tom Cruise. They kind of hem him up in the beginning on this. He's a pilot, and he's kind of getting the Cubans when he's there, and then brings them back to the airport and just gives them to some of the people around the airport. A couple of here, a couple of there, and they would give him a little bit of money, and he was happy with this couple of hundy. But then they act like, we got you. And he was like, oh, am I going to go down for this? Like, really thought he could go to prison for a long, long time. And they're like, maybe. Yeah, maybe you will. Unless you're going to do something for us, And it's like, what do you need? So that's something to keep in mind, folks, as we move forward. So what do you guys, what's the narratives? I know that we want to we got almost 900, almost 1,000 people in the room. What was your best advice to some of the patriots out there, like in this scenario going on right now? Some people are like, they're coming for you, man. You didn't do anything wrong, Ben, but maybe dig and get into a little bit of truth that you shouldn't have been digging into, man. And now that you're kind of giving it out to other people, man, you're a big threat, man, to their lives. There's actual crimes that we know of, and treason and selling out of country. And, that's actual real stuff. I'm not saying that the plot or the New World Order thing of rounding up perfectly good citizens. But anyway, what's your thoughts? Your best projected, idea on this whole thing that we're talking about?
Well,
That could be a scenario for, either
yeah,
arrest
people
or...
look at that. Yeah, no, people say for sure this is it. This is martial law. They're all coming for us, our guns, and they're going crazy. Hunker down, get into your house, and get barrels of water. No, I get it. The bottom line is this whole entire time, remember, 90% of these people that we are freaking out have chosen to be in self-quarantine. What's shutting down? We know it's a pandemic instead of a actual real pandemic. Every single one of us today, prior military, Army, Navy. We're knocking out. We've been through many of pandemic trainings in the military. That's just what you do. You prepare, train, and none of this is going. All of this is what's not flying off the shelves should be flying off the shelves. When the gas should be soaring up, going crazy, it's getting cheaper. We know this is supposed to be happening because of how it's happening. And the interesting part is we're still trying to surmise what the end game is going to be, while most people are literally going around saying, don't touch me. If you've been in the public, you can't see me. Don't touch me. Don't do nothing 2 weeks. There's this. They don't know. Nobody knows. You can't get the test. I can't get the test. Nobody knows anybody who's sick from it or died from it, or somebody. And so it's like we've been rejoicing in this period of time to be with family because we know that something bigger is going on than just the average. It was a pretty hard flu season this year. Let's move on to allergy season and then into the summertime. Come on now.
That's funny. Woodman, what do you...
Red Bill.
What do you think, Woodman, on the scenarios? Like, in your best guess, like, is everything that we're in entering us the final switch is going to be martial law. They're going to horn in on people like you. I mean, the panel here might be gone. We have forfeited our life in the New World Order. We're not welcome, I don't think. But do you think they're coming for you? Do you think they're coming for these bad people, like that have actually done things that Trump's been talking about this whole time? Or do you think it's a final?
Well, I think the neatest part about this whole scenario is everyone has a mind, and they can make up their own mind what's going on. Technically, you can believe mainstream media and hope you have a shit shovel because you're going to need a lot of it. Or you can trust the plan, trust God, pray a lot. Don't let the evil people distract you, everyone. Don't let them ruin what you got. Hey, look, even if it is just a blowover thing, we all think on the panel here, I'm not going to say much about it, but we have ideas about what the true sense of what's going on behind the scenes. Naturally, we don't know who writes the narrative.
I got that behind
it'd
it.
be nice to know that, but
Good, yeah.
what's that?
Go ahead.
Nothing. Just another genius move Fluid Pour did.
Oh,
Thank you,
but
brother.
I just say don't let anybody bother you. Don't let look if they think you know too much or try to start harass you. That means you've hit a nerve. You're doing something good. You're doing something. You're on the right track somewhere. Don't lose track of that. Build on it. Share with it. Like Ben said, these are really precious times because now we are kind of like in lockdown with our families. Wow, what an opportunity, man! To share God at the table. Have a meal together like it's supposed to be, and trust the plan. Scuttlebutt is we're going to have some dark days ahead of us, but we'll go right through it. We're Americans, true blood Americans, man. We have more stamina than what anybody else does in the whole world because we're hanging on to our freedom. We're not going to cave in. And we actually have a president now that, even though he doesn't do everything properly, come on, everybody knows that, but he is definitely on track. I guess that's about all I got to say. Keep the faith, man.
Thank
Yep.
you, brother.
The faith, pray, have God on your side for sure.
There you go.
The full armor
yeah,
of God.
So this is going to
agree.
be clean, and I would imagine it's happening now, folks. It's going to be clean and swift. No war, no civil unrest. I can see some pockets of, and that would just, and I think that's why this has taken so long, is because remember how we've had a lot of impatient patriots. I still love you, but
Yes.
I'm ready. When the arrest gonna happen? It's like, well, what about your neighbors? He ready? I don't care about him, man. I'm ready, man. I'm ready.
Yeah.
These things take time.
I'm ready for more show.
Yeah.
It's like, well, it was never about.
These things take time.
Yeah, it was never about
Yeah.
waking up the patriot and then showing that patriot arrest. It was about waking up almost everybody, because that's who we're worried about. The actual people that aren't awoke. We don't want to spook them. This isn't meant to be scary. And to
love
the extent,
everybody.
However, we still
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
However, we definitely need every single voice that's capable and that's awake to do their part to not be silent, because I believe it was Martin Luther King that said, when good men remain silent about bad things going on, I don't know the exact verbatim, but he said pretty much that you're enabling the situation to continue.
Yeah, turning the blind eye all these years on all the things that we've had.
Yeah.
People talk about, I don't want to get back to normal, like before Trump or something. I don't consider that normal. I mean, it might have been.
Nope.
We talk about the media, how great they
What
were.
we thought was normal.
Yes, the illusion of normal.
And let's be
Yes,
honest,
the illusion
man,
of freedom.
We're all want to do good things. What we're talking about here today is a very, very small group of people who believe very, very twisted things. but unfortunately have a very large control over what happens across the face of this earth. And we're hoping for good things to go down. So the common person who respects the law, who's doing the right thing, who's an upright person, they're not knocking in your door. They're not coming for you because you're doing the right thing. And that's not who they're coming for. They're coming for the people who can't sleep at night and do things that you can't even imagine. That's who they're coming for. I mean, we the people, I mean, if you think if they come for us, who are they going to give the government back to? Because it used to be ours, but if there's no more people, who are they going to give it back to, you know? I mean, there is a lot of fear porn going out for sure.
All right.
But we were illegally spied on for so long, you know what I'm saying? And people need not fear, because they can't even, I don't know. There's a lot of people that have done stuff that they were worried that, oh God, I hope it's not me.
Well, and people are like, remember Kent State? That's what we were talking about. Shirley Lagarde, right there.
Mm-hmm.
No, and this has been happening. So all the people, and I don't want to bash the people out there that have been following along the New World Order. You've been right. You've been waiting on like the tracking's coming, and we all heard that story. It's almost like these bad people seeded that story out there. The hell with it, tell them. And then we're waiting on the actual chip while we all got our smartphones, and now we're all trackable. The chip's not coming. We already did it. We did it willingly. It's going to be in your head. Your phone is by your head. You did it willingly. I'm never giving into this. You got on Facebook willingly, and you gave them every damn thing. Everything you bought to everything you've done, and microphones and tracking, and we've already did it. We were already there. The New World Order wasn't going to come with the cutting of the ribbon ceremony. You know, we're all waiting on the big scissors and like the governor. You know, it wasn't going to come in that way.
Am I in the shot? Yeah. Ready? One world. Yeah.
Yeah. Am I in one world? No, that was, you know, so it's been here and they've been right, but I think it's been a ploy as well. It's almost like the person that put out, there's a toilet paper shortage. It just took a little blump into the fake stream and it went everywhere. And that's great, because if they would have used canned foods were going to be, you know, shortage, people would have went out and bought all the food. So I'm glad that somebody got everyone to be prepared for this. And the stupidest thing that everyone bought up was toilet paper, because it won't hurt anything for us. Like food wise, everyone's got it. You know, that came next.
Gives them
a little bit of food shortage.
It almost gives them a litmus test of what the people, the nature and the feel of the people at that time. And this has actually been done. Yep. I think Mike and I talking in history. You can go back to the kings and queens that they used to also do a fake bread or food shortage within their kingdom to see how the people would react. And at that time, they would give out free bread at the castle, you know, and they would see, are the people coming in for the free bread? Are they all okay with us taking care of them? They would still keep that mentality of, what about those people who are off on the edge of my kingdom and they're harvesting their own wheat and making their own bread. They're not coming in. Yeah, some of the lords would take care of those guys, because you want them to come in and understand. Then you'd bring the food back. So we've seen this engineered shortage to see what happens, and now it's more, like I said, a mythical. You can't see it, can't touch it.
And I wouldn't even say
the greatest.
Yeah, that an enemy that's no face, no name, can't talk to it, can't confront it and ask, "What do you want? What are you doing?" It's
the invisible enemy.
Yeah, everyone can be infested.
Right.
There's a lot of different scenarios running out there, fellas, and I know we've all heard them all. We can sit here for the rest of today and talk about them, but yeah, we just can't. I'm gonna say my bet. Like, I can't even go with the fact that they're going to round up completely honest patriots. I haven't done anything other than looked into some of the crimes, followed along with our president as he's named it all off. So the dissenters, it would have to be like Trump was acting in a manner of like Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer and those people and doing that stuff. And then us still being on this other side, that would be, and then if they were looking into us that would be fearful, or that's the way that's designed or was in the past. It was citizens against the government, and there was no really good people in the government at the time,
Right.
or the
Right.
people that were in control of that group to push them off and go do this, go look at them. Something happened, something got triggered where they said, we got people wanting to overthrow the government. That's that scenario we talk about, Ben. But this time it's a patriot in the government with a group, and they've started back channels to patriots because you're allowed to do that by law. Once you find a coup, an active coup within the government, and then what happened back in Las Vegas of 2017, they had every right to start this, which is,
Yep.
you actually had somebody trying to assassinate, and then you're going to blow out the windows and then shoot the crowd. But there was people actually in the crowd. I don't know how much that Paddock guy really had a hand in on any of this. He was
I
Fall
think
Guy.
they're more in the
He was
crowd
our
getting shot at
McVeigh.
earlier.
He was our
CIA operatives.
I can go through who Oswald. He was our Saran.
JFK.
He was our
Yeah.
So think about it. This is their behavior. I totally agree, and I have to back up with what Mike was saying, man. Is, you know what? Good people, they're not coming for you. Don't tell yourself this is the end of the world and this is coming down. We know that this is not the real thing that's going on, and we know that our government, especially the executive branch, has been operating at an elevated level with the military, specifically with the military.
Space
not
Force. That's
Yes,
nothing to do with
Space
really going to Mars. That might have been
That's
some
not
trolling.
going to Mars, people. That has
it's
nothing
the
to do
That's
with
information.
controlling
dominating
airwaves,
this-
controlling information,
Information, right?
Yep, information. And so,
And then they're
we
not
can see
backed
that.
by the
control the
states.
satellites.
What was that we found, Ben?
Control.
That little hinger. Remember,
What?
it wasn't like a state sponsorship yet with the Space Force, where all other branches have it or something.
Okay. Yes. So all branches of the military have to have a branch of their National Guard that's attached to them. What that does is that gives the states the rights to the actual. It gets a little complicated. It gets back into the Organic Act of 1871, but
This is almost
you can
developed
do it from other
outside of
times.
that.
But with all that, yes. So with a new branch that now has been created, Space Force, there is not a Space Guard, Space Guard to go with the Space
Right.
Force branch of the military, right? So that's where there's a little bit of a conundrum. And so at this point in time, the actual Space Force branch of the military is operating at an elevated level directly to the president and who the president deems nominee of the Space Force. Obviously, there's some other checks and balances on the way down, but right now it's a kind of a weird time, and that could be changing very soon. But it's interesting that the states right now have no say so of sorts. It's a very weird thing to get into, and I don't know much about like when it gets.
Well, it's
into
such a
actual
new little idea anyway. Or it's
Yes.
like, how do you back yourself out of all these things we've talked about? Like, there's plenty of people like, they'll call Trump a dictator if he got in and was trying to fire everyone. So they had all these investigations set up to where he couldn't. Where past presidents got in, and that was normal activity. Fire that guy,
Yep,
that guy,
that's
that
what
guy, that guy. Obama sent out pink slips to all the foreign dignitaries, whatever you call them, the ambassadors.
the ambassadors.
Before it's like, what's this? There's a pink slip from the
That
new
just
incoming
shows-
president. You're fine under this one, but once this one's gone on January 20th, on the 21st, somebody else is going to be sitting in your desk. So
You need a new job.
That that just shows that they were all embedded from both parties.
yeah, and it was a real quiet transition with the media. There was nothing that they can do wrong that the media wouldn't spin and put out as a blissful. They wanted you to get out of your bed like, oh, everything's great in the world. So if there was ever any kind of chance to take down this system, and the people within the military that are not on TV daily, that are actually embedded patriots, moved to take down these traitors that were like literally on the poster people for our government that were doing bad things, it would have hit the country really, really, really horribly. Almost like you wake up like, what? Our military arrested the president and the vice president and like 28 people, the panel of his innermost presidency panel, and then people spanning outward, and it wouldn't have looked
Armed
good. It
guards
would have
in
never went.
White
Media,
House.
You know,
Yeah, they were
media
just-
being owned. They're like, people, what are we doing? This is a military takeover. And
Did
it
you
was-
see that picture? Did you see the picture of Trump playing his violin, or that meme with Trump playing his violin? Dude, he played them like a violin, literally.
That's
He did. He
yeah.
did.
No, when
It
this
was
is
the best sheet music I've ever heard.
I'll tell you what, man.
so
This
I
is
thought maybe
amazing, guys. And what we're witnessing is just absolutely mind-blowing. Like, we're part of this. We're actually here saving our nation because of two high-ranking military officers that took the fall for the country. Those guys need to be given peace prizes, something. They need something.
Well,
They
I think
saved this
they
nation.
know, man. I think they got recognition for sure, man, of what they did. I mean,
Yeah,
dude,
but the
they're-
hell they had to go through to get there.
but they
Yeah,
don't.
hey,
They,
hey, I
even when
mean,
like
how about the
it's
other
been said,
operators who were
thank
doing
you to the Q board, and they're like, hey,
I agree.
No,
Yeah,
nobody's
not
above.
just the two generals,
no one
but
man's
everybody.
above another.
Yeah.
We're all equal.
Yep.
That's very.
And that's
Where
the
we go
beauty of
one,
it,
we go
man.
all, baby.
There you go, man. I just want to thank you guys for sure, man. This is a great time. I mean, this is great. It's good to see you back, Greg. I've been back at it a little bit more. Woodman
Man,
looking good.
It's
Always, Mike, a pleasure.
Yeah.
Super awesome, you guys. This is really sweet.
Yeah, no, we're at about the
Woodman
47
giving
minute
me
mark.
crap because I cut the beard.
Oh yeah,
I've been getting long in the
it down.
tooth. What's the point
Hey, I
right now? I
just-
can't go out.
I'm gonna
trimmed
take a
mine
few-
again. I trimmed
Let's.
mine again,
I'm gonna
guys,
open
so-
up the view here. We got about 5-6 more minutes. We'll go. We'll wrap this up. I wanted to take a minute to. We'll go to some. Any questions in the chat rooms or anything great? I'll pull up the screen here. Just show it for a minute. Blessed to catch you guys live. Thank you.
Lag is gone out of the press room too.
Oh, nice. 41020. Donald J. Trump, KDC says, "Yep, we believe the same thing.
Oh
Something's
yes,
happened.
yeah.
Something's gonna
Okay,
be
so-
happening
Yup.
good.
I did want to pull that up. We'll pull that up for last right here. Go over that, then we'll go back and we'll mess with the
A little
chatters.
extra. We got some extra. This is bonus,
Extra.
people. This is good, juicy bonus
And I just went
for
over
all
the
you who are
last
just
video.
here and hanging with us.
Video medical.
Man, I got so much respect for you guys because you guys, your channel and Lions Republic are the channels that really got me spinning off of the bad focus. You know what I'm saying? Like they're coming for the Patriots, coming for all the good guys, and got me looking more towards. And that was, I've been tracking all kinds of crap before then, but man, you guys saving people, saving lives.
Oh, brother, that's
Well,
what
God bless you.
battle buddies do.
No blue falcons allowed.
These are just
I
some
agree.
pictures of the Mercy here and the
Yes,
Oh,
yes,
yeah.
the mercy. Yeah,
Church Satan.
Bar's not looking too happy in that photo.
Yeah.
comfort and mercy.
Oh yes.
A little bit round
Mercy and
up.
comfort,
Oh yeah,
the red cross.
getting some
Coffee.
I like that one.
These
Oh,
are
yeah.
using the video, but here we go.
All right, here we go.
Look at this,
guys.
man.
We
This
like
is amazing.
Look at these
Break
days,
it down.
people.
All right,
All right,
go
so
ahead,
go ahead and
Mike.
read that.
What are we
Thirty.
looking at here?
I'll look at this. So post 26 back on
Post
the
26.
1st of November 2017 at 12:41 a.m. The only way is a military. Think about it logically. The only way is a military, fully controlled, save and spread. Once 3/11, which is March 11th, and everyone always thought it was 11/3, which is November 3rd. But think mirror, right? So verifies as the first marker, biggest advance drop on POL. So we come to the map here on March 2020 on the 11th, the marker was set, and that's in the purple. Got a couple different maps or map to calendars that we're following here. So you see the multiple writings. But here on Donald J. Trump, hoping to get payroll tax cut approved by both Republicans and Democrats. And please remember, very important for all countries and businesses to know that trade in no way will be affected by the 30-day restriction on travel from Europe. And then that takes us to the 15-day slow. We got the DEFCON 1 Stinger marker on the 7th of January 2018, post 497, good in the brackets win, W-I-N. Then we got win in the brackets / win, like win, question mark, which is the 10 days of darkness. I have a question. Win, shutdown. So I believe we're going to go into a shutdown here on the 1st of April.
Actually, be the 31st of March. If you roll back a little bit, that'd be the second day of the shutdown.
Okay, that looks like a 1 there.
Remember?
Your sloppy handwriting, I couldn't read. That's joking.
I couldn't read.
Number 1, right there. There, you're right. So you're right. So the 31st
of March. Should be the 10 days of
second,
of
third,
darkness.
fourth, fifth, over the weekends, 10 days. So is it referring to 10 days of...
Well, it is the darkness, so 10 days of dark,
So then on this, Friday?
I believe.
Which is a blue X.
Yes.
We come down.
That
Watch POTUS's Twitter, 44, post 44, 2nd of November, 2:06 a.m. Good Friday. He will be sending an important message via Twitter before he departs on Friday. So he's going to be leaving on that day. But before he leaves, he'll tweet. Here it is. Twitter marker.
What is it going to say?
My fellow Americans, a storm is upon us. God bless.
Now,
So
this
we got
is
that.
said in November 2nd of 2017. Okay,
At
so
1:44
just kind of
PM.
follow with us now, people.
So then that takes us to...
This one.
So it should be a Twitter confirmation to us if we get that. And then on the
Pay attention.
11th,
The very next day.
which is a Saturday, should be a marker for the public
Indeed.
awareness. And then you get into this, which is our old Q clearance Patriot. My fellow Americans, over the course of the next several days, you will undoubtedly realize that we are taking back our great country, the land of the free, from the evil tyrants that wish to do us harm and destroy the last remaining refuge of shining light. On POTUS order, we have initiated certain fail-safes that shall safeguard the public from the primary fallout, which is slated to occur on 3/11, which we've already started. Upon the arrest announcement, actionable 4/11, confirmation to the public of what will be occurring, then will be revealed and will not openly be accepted. Public riots are being organized in serious numbers in effort to prevent the arrest and the capture of more senior public officials.
So, what better time to quail the public uprising of when these officials come down big time than a self-quarantine plandemic? Just saying.
Lovely.
Somebody says it can't be the
hypotheses are
10th.
flowing, people.
Somebody said it can't be the 10th because that would give them the rule of... I don't even understand what that said. It can't be the 10th because it would give them the rule of elimination. What does that mean?
Well, we also have, is the 10th also a holiday, Good Friday?
Yeah,
Yes,
because
it
it's
is.
Well, no, the
Sunday,
10th, the 10th
Isn't
is
that-
announcement to us. The
Us,
11th,
yeah,
Isn't
the
that
10th is
biblically-
us,
the
yep.
11th is
Those-
the
us Patriots,
actionable to the
24
public.
hour. Yep. Yes. He'll
Yep.
tweet a public tweet, and if those have eyes to see and ears to hear, they will be finding out 24 hours before everybody else gets it broken down in.
Hey,
what we
and we're
would
not
say
saying this is 100%
openly.
truth. This is the
Not
key
yet, we're
thing.
just
We've
saying
been
this is-
following news. We've been following tons of things that still lead to believe. I'm just saying this is what's been said for 3 years at this point. So it looks like this is kind of a Q clock run out. We're just
And I
tossing it
think
around here.
Mike
We didn't
and
write
I-
things.
churches
Yeah,
will
I
be
think Mike and
full
I-
on Easter Sunday.
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
Families are
Mike
home.
and I.
You're learning things. Every sports is shut down. We got all the attention. And you're seeing who, what do we call it, Ben? Who's all happy to be, exclusive or, I'm, expendable, not expendable, but,
Not expendable. No, we see those in the limelight saying things, but I could
well, the
definitely
media,
say
you're
that,
seeing that the sports people aren't, very, they're turned off, no problem. All the actors
Okay. Oh,
are
I
at
see you
home.
go. Okay, so check it out, you guys. Yeah. So think about it. The whole time that Mike and I've known Mike, we talk about the people. They don't understand. It's bread and circus, right? Bread and circus. And they're like, what do you mean? Well, when the Romans wanted to subside the anger of their citizens, they would give them Roman circuses and gladiators, and they'd throw free bread to subside it. And so it's just personal, you guys. That's what I personally believe, that like the NBA, the NFL, all the sports at that level is bread and circus. We've made coliseums
Yep.
to them, every town. So that's now shut down. So all the people who were getting their fix of what they needed for society and how their value was, that illusion was shattered. We know how evil Disney
And we're
is. It's
also
shut down.
seeing,
It's like, this is awesome. But
who's really essential and who's not. And that's the other thing is we're seeing people that aren't essential. And that's not the actors, folks. That's not, it wasn't the football people this whole time. You're doing fine without them. It wasn't the Hollywood people at the store that get you food, if you need something for your home, that's essential. So people at the hardware store are more essential than the actors. That's what we're seeing. That's what's crazy as well, I would say.
Yes,
So
think about
that
all
was
the
word I was looking for,
diversions
was
in your
essential.
society are closing down. Yeah, good job. That's what we're looking for, is like, dude, only what's real
To be a
important,
fly
like
on the
family.
wall.
Yeah, it's crazy, you guys. So just know that
To be a swabby
that's
on
what
that
we're
shit.
speaking out.
The mercy.
And I'll always say,
I had said that
what
to
we
Greg
say
yesterday.
here, you guys, we always say this, don't believe a single thing you hear here. If you don't believe us, please research it yourself. If we said anything today that caught your eye that you don't believe, prove it wrong. And if we were wrong, let us know. But we're not lying. I will say that. There is a difference between being wrong and actually lying. And so
there's history.
I'll always say, man, do your research.
Do your research.
just
Look at
like-
history. There's things that have already happened that people are saying are going to happen again, which isn't that crazy, honestly.
Yeah.
But if you've been following along with all the other little tid things, and also what Trump said when he was running, the promises, and he's almost damn near tried to attack every single one of the things that he's promised us. No, he didn't get the insurance done yet. Well, it's like we know we had a deep state guy by the name of No Name that voted at the last minute to turn that down. He also promised everyone in the hidden room that he was going to go along with it. So he lied to the whole party. It was a final to Trump,
Yeah,
and he did it.
Yeah.
So you can't beat that. That's moves and counter moves. That actually happens.
There you go.
So, all right, we're going to look just at the
Consequences for
tweets as we
actions.
back out of this room here. I want to pull this up, and we'll just look at, you guys want to give a shout out from where you're from? We'll name out as best as we can as we see them. Everyone can take a jab. I don't care. We got 4 guys here. So,
Yeah, Lower Q, we salute you too, man.
Woodman
you
don't
guys,
see nothing, I guess.
Melinda Odo
Man.
says we win.
brother.
Military
Love all you
planning at its
guys, man.
finest. Ohio, Florida.
Ohio, South Kakalaki,
Michigan, South
Atlanta,
Kakalaki.
Georgia, Newport
Yee.
Beach, Bias, Virginia,
Go.
Texas,
Go.
Iowa, Missouri, Texas,
Wow.
and North Carolina. North
There was no
Arizona.
Florida.
Arizona.
I'm not even try that.
Arizona,
Ohio,
Ohio, Indiana, Tampa, San Diego, West Virginia.
Rochester, Minnesota,
Yes.
Canada.
Indiana. Feel bad for those people in Indiana.
Montego,
Arkansas.
Montego, baby, why don't we
Kentucky in the
go?
house.
Central Cali,
Baton Rouge,
Kentucky,
Planet X,
Baton Rouge, Southern California.
Bolivia,
SoCal.
Mississippi, Sonoma.
Ohio.
Holy
Thank you
cow.
guys for all the super chats.
Oh
We
my
appreciate
gosh.
it. And I
you
think
guys
there
are
was another
awesome.
member.
Look at-
Sedan.
New York.
Sedan. Hello.
Planet X,
the
that's
Cape
hilarious.
Utah.
Up in
Oregon.
Decatur, Ohio, Rhode Island, Oklahoma,
Tennessee, some Florida.
Tennessee, Tennessee,
Oregon.
It's hot
Sweet.
down there in
Tennessee.
Florida.
Tennessee.
Sweetwater.
Yes,
Michigan.
it's very hot. It's 85 plus right now.
Canada.
Cleveland. Wyoming.
how you spell that?
California. And a
C-A-N-A-D-A.
veteran.
The moon.
Awesome.
I see moon. The moon.
Moscow.
I think they're up there in the
Uranus,
International
Uranus.
Space Station,
Jimmy correct.
Commie,
yeah,
Ontario,
right.
Canada. That's hilarious.
in the middle of a cornfield.
Austin, Texas. Moscow,
Mesa, Arizona.
false flag.
They're coming from
Bucko.
over upon Racine. I've been to Racine. I actually lived in
saying Oregon.
Kenosha.
Mesa,
You hear it now?
Arizona. Laurel,
Team
Maryland.
of Region 4.
Belfast,
That's
Darren
funny.
Carson. Michigan,
Colorado.
Belfast.
Yeah, what's up, Darren
Loving it.
Carson? Belfast.
New Jersey. I see Elkhart.
South Carolina.
Carolina.
Don't worry,
Victoria.
Indiana's not bad. I love Indiana. It's awesome. Alberta's
Pittsburgh.
awesome.
Indiana's
too.
awesome.
New Zealand.
I see you,
got your
Steve
Kiwis. What's
Lucier,
up?
Chris Fox,
T-Piz.
Jason Wallace, OC, New Hampshire.
Faces on Air
OCP.
Force One.
Pittsburgh. New Zealand.
Faces on Air Force One checking in. Thank you.
Checking
All right.
in.
Northumberland,
Bozeman, Montana.
United
Anybody
Kingdom.
from Mars? Do we have anybody from Mars?
Not yet. The Space Force is in control still.
Anybody from the space station? Space Force.
False flags from Wuhan. Good to have you in the house.
Anybody from Wuhan?
Flag out.
Oh no!
New York.
Oh, no, you
false
keep
flagger
the-
from Wuhan. I see.
Little false
You keep the
flaggers.
Corona.
Little false flagger 201. This isn't even moving
Get
on the
most
screen
being
here.
used.
My bad, folks. Let me try
I
this.
got all you
Outstanding.
guys.
It don't move when I bring it
Hey,
over, but it moves when I don't.
What do you think
Why?
about?
Margaritaville.
Can I ask you something, Mike?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. What do you think about? What do you think about Mr. Cuomo and what he's doing right now, trying to CYA?
Harry Como.
How he's working with Trump really well. I think it's
Yeah,
I think it's a
it's
forced
amazing.
relationship. I think it's a forced relationship.
I would say it's a one-sided relationship, definitely.
I think that
Yeah, he got it.
See, you can't give people information, and this is the biggest thing. You gotta add it into your mix, folks. This is like the most times like, what do you think with Trump in 1999 writing that book, and then it hits the shelves in January of 2000 about he's talking about the whole story of 9/11 and naming off the name of the bad guy. It's like, wow, that's pretty amazing. And then he goes on for 9 years, does nothing, and then now he's president. I think a plan set in motion there, or at least around those times that he's coming out with these things, it was on purpose. That was like the first thing. Like if 1999,
Yeah.
here's Trump, get this out, put it in a book, see how much attention that gets. But you'll be able to go
I
back in
watched him this-
time, and it's going to prove like, man, you probably had the rest of the plan. I would imagine,
Yep.
all the way up to what we're in right now. That makes it
Yeah.
cool. That makes it really cool.
Oh, yeah.
I watched him this morning, and I was just wanting to vomit just listening to him. Like, reporter asked him about his 16,000 ventilators that he had the chance to buy back in 2015, and instead of doing that, would have came to like $36,000 a piece. Instead of doing that, he decides, we'll just make a death panel and we'll play with people's lives and have a lottery, and they can decide who gets the ventilator and who doesn't based on their color code. Are you kidding me? You've got zero respect for human life. And if you read the preamble of the Constitution, it tells you to guarantee that for your posterity. What are you doing? Treason.
Amen. That's what they've uncovered. We got treasonous people within each state, folks. This is who they're worried about. This is who Trump's been talking about. The deep
It's the
swamp.
largest mass treason event in history.
This will be movies written, books written. You'll all understand
Songs
it
That's what I
100%.
said, man. Get right in the
Songs
book,
will be
baby.
sung.
Rooftop.
Patriot Fest will be had. Things like
At the
that.
most
Now, Ben,
awesome
you gotta write the book
Indiana.
now so that you beat everybody to the fortune.
And
By the
those
way,
of
you
you
guys-
that missed out on this, it's
Patriot
not a big
Fest.
deal. You're still patriots. You just missed out on these
Yes.
little tidbitty clues. They weren't meant
There's
for you.
still
Start
time.
today.
Look
It only
up,
takes
learn. The Q
10%.
poster's there.
10% of the communities also, if you look into, and they have the right to do this, folks. They have the right to do this so badly.
This is your right to stand up, and it's your duty to stand up. Anybody that's sworn an oath to that Constitution, it is our duty to stand up, to expose and to
Treason from within.
guarantee these freedoms
Right.
to our posterity, man. Because
It
if
was
not,
close.
my kids, I would rather die than have my children live on their knees.
Right. Right.
And if
Can't
you
go on
like,
forward
if you
like this.
what you see, yeah, for sure, dude. I agree 100%, man. That's the thing is, and we all live like that here. This is why this panel is kind of unique, because we're all veterans and we all are we all hold the Constitution very, very close to our heart, because we all not only put our lives on
Raised
the
our
line for our
hand.
Constitution, but we also took the oath, which is super. It's a sacred thing about what we did with the land that we're stewards of. And I will say this, man, with all you guys in here right now, we are doing a Patriot Fest August 14th and 15th this year. Come on out. If you like what you hear here, you want to
If you're a
hang out, you
patriot,
want to be a part of this.
it's free.
You're a patriot. Are you a part of the
That's what
public?
you should name the
Okay,
panel.
You got to be a
do
patriot.
you want to come in? It's free. Yes.
And
Gorillin,
love,
I don't know who's
You like
all
the
here
American
right now.
flag and you stand for it when it's raised, then you belong there.
you want to see
And,
a
hey,
flag
like-
retirement, a real flag
Yes.
retirement. You never been to one.
Yes, that was
That's all.
amazing. It's amazing.
We can disagree
That's
on
what you can
lots of
call this
little other
panel.
things, but we as long as you have that in mind, we're all shooting for it. So it's like a lot of people
That's what
agree
you name
too.
this panel.
You can. I agree with you guys. I think it's a great concept. I just don't think it's happening. And the other narrative is that you have bought into the evildoers, and you only possibly think that only evil exists. Well, we believe that good exists and patriots
Exactly.
exist and planning
Amen
Yep.
to
exists.
that.
And no
And-
weapon
and-
formed against us will prosper.
Yeah, no, we're
Yeah.
using everything against them, and then it's getting dismantled, and things are going to get backed out of. CIA be ripped into a million pieces like JFK wanted, scattered into the winds.
To the wind, 1,000 pieces.
The National Guard are your most. They live in your cities. They're all around. These people do the one weekend a month. You know them more than anyone. They got more ties to the local towns than actual active duty, like I think most of us did, where we left. I mean, states for 4+ years. I was gone for over 8, or just at 8 years gone from this state. So it was like, even though I
Yep.
always had residency from my home state, I wasn't around. Whereas the National Guard, they're more your local people, so you should trust them more than ever. They're not being federalized. So that's a huge thing.
No.
That's a huge thing. Yes, people. That's
Trump's
huge,
already
you
said
guys.
it.
It's
It's
huge.
all been
We
planned.
ain't gonna have to have martial law.
Nope.
Not gonna have to have it.
There might be pockets of craziness because we don't want people playing into the fake news when it all
Which
goes
is why
down.
they've activated. Which is why they've activated the Guard. I feel like the Guard has a dual duty right now, and that's suppressing the uprisings, and 2, taking care of the citizens and keeping them safe when the roundup happens. We're on lockdown. Kids are not in schools. Why? So there's no false flag attacks.
Well, we're not technically. I mean,
That's
I would
my
agree with
point
you. I
of-
mean, I mean, we know they're coming down. Like what Mike was saying,
Yep.
they're our neighbors. We are not technically.
Yep.
There's no legal quarantine lockdown at all. Remember, we're all choosing to stay
mandatory.
at home. You can still go back to it's. And
People
when
are
it's
still
smashed
flying
down,
and going around. People are flying if
They'll
they
still
want.
flying. The businesses are still open. They're
I'm
just
on
getting cease and
lockdown.
desist orders.
No, go dance
That's
like
just a piece of paper.
yeah, go dance like Kevin Bacon down on the park.
Propaganda,
The,
people. Just look.
If
just look and
you
see
don't
what's
take a
going
video
on.
of
It's
it,
all
it didn't happen.
propagandized.
That's all I'm saying. If you didn't
Didn't
take a video of
happen.
it, it didn't happen. Take a video of it. Kevin Bacon it up in the
Oh.
park. Go do your dance.
That's
and
why
go
we love
free
you guys,
dance. So
It's tough love at times, but it's all out of love, and you know that.
Oh yeah.
It's
Hey,
hilarious.
what you need to do is maybe name this panel the Oath of 4.
yeah, hey,
There you go. That's awesome. I like
brothers,
that.
Airborne.
we'll do it again. We'll
Airborne
do it again
Grandpa
soon.
Woodman out.
Our country. God bless you
Heck yeah,
guys.
man.
Keep fighting for your
God
freedoms.
bless
Never
y'all,
give them
man.
up.
Love you all, and please check out my channel.
Yes, check out the channel.
If you would, man, please.
And Woodman's gonna be
Sub,
starting one up
share,
here soon.
whatever.
Put it up
All
there,
right.
Greg. Put your in the little comments. Put up this so y'all can see it.
All right, and that was the panel. Great group of guys. Great group of guys. And we'll see you guys back here real soon. We'll set something up. Again, yeah, get over to Patriot Fluid. I keep wanting to call him Fluid Pour, but he is Patriot Fluid Pour, I believe. Fluid Pour Patriot. Yeah, there we go. Fluid Pour Patriot. Okay, you guys, we are going to shut this one down. Again, I am Michael. This is the Patriot Hour. Again, always think for yourself. Connect your own dots. Come to your own conclusions. Never take what we say to be 100% fact or, just the way it's got to be. This is our opinions. This was Wednesday Conspiracy Dolphin, but we went over some factual information for you. So do your best to use your discernment, and we're not trying to do any kind of fear mongering, just trying to inform you. God bless each and every one of you, and we'll see you back here real soon on the next Patriot Hour.